Alright, I guess they can hear us now. So, yeah. Yeah, I probably should have set it up so that...
Okay, awesome. So yeah, we're gonna try to do the results first. If I don't put it past us to have this not work for like a few minutes, but hopefully we get it up soon.
Everything's all fine, all working.
And so you won't have to see this green screen for much longer.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we can always just like go on to OSU, but I guess we'll wait a couple minutes for everyone to kind of gather up, right?
I feel like we should just start right away, considering that we've already had like a 26-minute delay.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to make that any longer, so we can get straight into it if possible.
It's very funny. You're also gonna have to read my chat for me because I'm under the wrong. It's not showing on my Streamlabs.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. If anyone has questions in chat, then I will try to answer them.
Okay. I guess we're doing seedings first.
Yeah.
I hope this is all right.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting at seed 32.
Yeah.
So we're only going to be showing teams that qualified. I'm thinking if I guess there weren't already preliminary results released, then probably we might start a bit lower, but kind of removes the drama of it once you already know who's there roughly, but...
Alright, is everyone ready?
Yeah, do keep in mind the seeding method is actually a bit different from what was used in the preliminary sheet. So some teams actually get moved around a little bit. So stay tuned, I guess.
All right. I guess we go on to the first team. Our first team is going to be Bread Incarnate.
Okay, it's working. Yes, let's go.
Everything's working.
Bread Incarnate. This is actually kind of like a classic, like 2019 Germany OWC roster. And so it's a lot of players you haven't seen play tourneys in a while coming back. Just very cool to see, especially Dust Ice. He actually didn't play the qualifiers lobby, so they might be able to do some damage in the bracket once they have their full force.
I think they might have just barely qualified.
Just barely. It literally depends how you calculate it, whether they made it or not. But by the skin of their teeth, they make it, and they don't have to play first seed. But I don't know, maybe Dust Ice might FC everything on the pool easy enough.
Yeah, they actually decided they did get number 8 on No Mode 1 and number 9 on Hard Rock 2, Hard Rock 1. Pretty good scores all around. Highest team score was their Hard Rock 1 with 1.5k.
Yeah.
All right.
It seems like they have like a bit of issues with like weirder nomads and hiddens, and that's kind of like I don't want to generalize too much, but it feels like a common theme with like German players. They're all mechanics players. Okay.
Yeah. All right, ready for seed 31. Touhou Moria. I'm hoping that's how you pronounce that.
Suwako Moria? I don't know. It's a Touhou character, pretty much. We love to see the Touhou theme names. But main carrier of this team, I'd say, is probably Spectre. He's a pretty well-known tournament player around his rank range. Did pretty well in the qualifiers. And also, you might want to keep in mind that's not the actual... The actual Zaysen is like MX1 some number.
Yeah, is his name get taken?
This is a different player. Yeah. Did pretty well on the Nomad 3.
Nomad
I think
3,
Spectre got a quite good score on that. So, yeah.
Alright, next team. I have to go through every team every time to get the next team, by the way. Alright, this team is just straight up not here. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Very real.
Yeah, here Chalked Up is the next team. Yeah.
Yeah, so Chalked Up, they actually kind of similar situation to the German team. They had one player missing for their qualifiers. They had Cup Paper missing, and you can kind of see that reflected on the scores because he would be playing probably a lot of the Nobots and the Hiddens. So in bracket, you'd be looking that they can do a lot better if they have him.
Yeah.
With the players they had, they did pretty well on like DTs because they have Spicy and Opus who are pretty good like DT specialists.
Yeah, I think a lot of the teams for the qualifiers of this tournament straight up were just like there's one player missing. It's kind of weird.
That can mess up like the seedings. You might have some matchups that will be unusually hard or easy in the actual bracket stage because of that. But it is what it is. It happens. So yeah.
All right, next team. So it's funny because half of the team, like they split up the teams into like two things, and half of them are just in actual alphabetical order, and the other one are not. This team, I'm not gonna pronounce their name. I don't think anyone would do that.
Some keyboard spam on the left side of the keyboard. I guess. Yeah. So we have a team of only 3 players, and I think you can see that like all of the players are very like speed or like mechanics oriented players.
Yeah.
Like, especially Sawada is very well known for speed. Riot a bit more well rounded, but that's one of his better skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can see that in a very good score on the DT2.
Yeah, 1.2k on both of the DTs.
Yeah, and struggling a bit more on like some of the weirder maps, but
yeah, I'm excited to see who got number 1 on DT2 actually.
Yeah, that was very hard.
Yeah, that one was a little
very
funky.
tricky skill set.
Yep. All right, let's see. I gotta find the next team. And I actually know this team. This team is of 4 is good. Couple banger players on this team, including Costco Hot Dog.
Costco Hot Dog, better known as Nightbeat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually a very, very interesting thing I saw is that every single player on that team played 5 maps. So you can see that it's like a team, they have very well rounded skill sets. But I think the standout player in this qualifiers at least was Saika OK1. I actually better knew him as like a tournament custom mapper. He's also a very solid player. I think that's the reason their Noma 2 is so good as well. Yeah.
I'm trying to set this up so I can do funnies. Okay. That should be good. Alright. Next team. Let's hope it's at the top and not at the bottom. Nope, it's gonna be at the bottom. Alright.
So you have to search for each team alphabetically? Yeah. Is that what you're telling me?
No, not even alphabetically.
It's just, okay.
Bolas,
anyway,
Faludas.
So we have Bolas, Faludas, so the Rebo, Flamesteer, Zidon, Ganza. Ganza actually FC DT2, which is why their score is really good on this. And that he's one of the carry players of this team, I feel. And
so
that map it describes his skill set very well because he's kind of a hybrid between like a reading player and a speed player.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
That map has both of those things.
So he got like 1 million score and his teammate got 350k.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny. Anyways, on to the next team. Next team's name we don't actually have to say. We can feel it. Okay, let's see. Actually, see.
It did the I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have to look. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're not here. That's fun. There's a bunch of teams that are just question marks, and I don't think they're. I don't know if they're in it or not.
I think this is one of the ones that this is something Suicune was talking about. That's just question marks.
Okay, so we have to guess. This is the first one. No, I don't think that's them.
It's the very bottom. It's 3 question marks.
Is this them? All right, this seems like this would be them.
So their face is the team name is just like a expressionless face.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't show very well here, but yeah, it's a Japanese team. And I believe it was Ropan and Yama Darkness playing most of the maps, and A2 Lane being a bit of like a tech fill, I believe, and Dectopia playing low AR hidden. Yeah.
Alright. So next one, I have to find it again. I should be finding these while you're talking about them, realistically.
Yeah, everything has just gone downhill since Suikuda's not been able to make the showcase. So
Next
we
team
had to
is,
put everything together
yeah,
very last minute.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
have
Sane-san.
Tanai-san with Spine's Knight, Willie, Pui, and Shina Noriko. Um, actually, kind of funny thing. I don't know if this is where the team name came from, but I think Spine's Knight almost FC'd the map Sanai-san in Attorney once. That was a pretty cool score.
Yeah.
And I guess that tells you a lot about kind of things he plays. He's very good at alt, for example. And the team as a whole doing pretty decently on basically every map. So very well rounded, it seems.
All right, I actually found the team before while you were talking. Next team is Bunny Enjoyers.
Yeah.
I see why they might be Bunny Enjoyers because they have Bunny like money.
Yeah, they have Bunny like money. He's like, I don't even know if it's right to call him an up and coming player anymore. He's just a very, very solid like space streams full in player in solo. He's also pretty good at tourneys as well. Also quite well on aim. And yeah, I see a lot of good speed players on this team because Yuen Prissa and Sunwraith are also very good on speed. I mean, I guess it's not reflected too much in the results. But that's kind of because this pool didn't have like a pure speed map. I think once they have those, they'll definitely be looking to pick into them.
Yeah. All right. Next team is Good Meowning. A couple players at least one player that I personally recognize, which is Gabe, who is, I believe he's a hidden player.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's like the hidden
The hidden
specialist
player.
of hidden specialists.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I have a lot of players on the team who are like very good at a specific niche. Dane's like a speed player, also can do hard rock. Conrad is like the tech goat, and then Jamar is good at mechanics. So yeah, I have a lot of players who are good at different things, and seems like their one weakness is the Nomad one.
Yeah, number 50 on the Nomad one.
Yeah, the very low BM aim map. It's kind of a weird skill set nowadays. Not too many people are good at now.
All right, on to the next team. UPR PRC. Which has two UC3 players.
Here we have our. It's kind of very strange to look at. We have our 5-digit deranker team.
Yeah. I think
the UCs are kind of infamous in that.
Yeah, didn't they get
lower ranked tournaments
USC,
being super good at the low AR hiddens, and here you can see they got number 4 on the map. I think one of them FC'd it. I can't remember which though. I always get the UCs mixed up. But yeah, very good at the low AR hidden. Pretty decent on everything else except having a bit of a struggle with the Nomad too.
Yeah. All right. Next team is Fish.
Yep.
The only.
Yeah. And speaking of very good teams on the
hidden tier, yeah.
Yeah, we have Klanlu, who is probably best known for his FC on the Unforgiving Flashlight, but also pretty good in tourney, as you can see from the.
He also
got like FC, also pretty good on like Nomad 3, Nomad 4, just more of the gimmicky skill sets.
Yeah.
And then also as a contrast to that, I love Uma, very good on just like raw aim, like just mechanics-y maps. They have kind of that contrast there.
If there's ever an easy map, beware of this team.
For real, or Flashlight.
Yeah.
There won't be, but you can go easy on Fremont, so that is an option.
All right, next map. Baxal.
Next map.
The next map, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Baxal. Have a lot of very solid 4-digit Korean 20 players. Honestly, I don't know what to comment too much because they have a lot of pretty well-rounded players. I know Crazy and Lujol are pretty well-rounded players, and Garalulu gets some pretty good ac on like stream maps. That's what I know of them. I believe Mouse Player is like a good speed player as well. So they have a lot of things covered. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Next team is Shrine Maiden Slaya.
Yep. So probably the first player to be looking at is Window Life. Probably better known for his scores in solo with like very high skill cap with DT, but has proven itself in Tardies pretty recently as well. And then I believe it's Window Life and your playing most maps. And then you will
Yeah.
have Kali filling in for Hardrax and Insert filling in for Loyar and Tech.
Yeah. All right, next team, 10 million backflips. Pretty funny name here. They did pretty well overall. Number 6 on DT1. Number 4 on DT2 or Nomad 2.
Yeah, you have Taro and Talola. I think you also would know them as good like speed players and streams. And that's reflected well in their DT placement. Pretty good. And I'm having a bit more of a struggle on like Hidden 2, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Taro played every map. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so
All right,
he's
next.
pretty integral to the team.
Yeah, next team is Boycott's Slavering. This is one hell of a name here.
Gender Bender for references,
Yeah.
better known as Rumindra. That was a very recent name change that threw me off. But yeah. They have Flasho, who's going to be more of the... He's a very big high AR fan. I mean, not much of that in this pool, but for the future will be very useful. And they also have Toybot, who's a hidden specialist. I mean, he can play like hiddens, Nobots and Hardrax as well.
Yeah.
And then Gender Bender, who's good on DT aim, I think. Yeah.
All right, next team. Sorry, My Angel Nathan Ram.
Oh yeah, very fitting team name with them having Nathan Ram, who's kind of like the Nomad 6 finger control esque map goat. But yeah, they did pretty well on DTs, having a bit more issues with the Nomads. Also, want to mention Miggy, a pretty good hidden player, and I know Peachy to be a quite solid all rounder.
Yeah. All right, next team is Ikun.
Yep. So we have some of the well-known names from the China. I think they're all Chinese players. And well, that's a very impressive DT plays. I think that's definitely a lot on the back of Joseph Joestar, who's known for his speed. He almost won the Carpal Tunnel Cup, I believe, not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just barely. I think they got second. So yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with on those DTs. And also did pretty well on the Hard Rock 2 and the Nomad 3 as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next team is Grease Monkey. They got a couple of good players here.
Oh yeah.
I know Penguinzy has been playing really well as of recent.
Yep. And then they have Melver, who's I believe it's Hard Rock is what he plays. Actually, he kind of just plays everything, as does Jax Pax. He had a very good. We played against Jax Pax in the tournament like yesterday, and he is scary. Let me tell you that. Yeah.
Our next team, very popular keyboard company, the Wooters.
Wooters, yeah. So you have a pretty clear division of what people play in this team. I think Squick is probably the best known here. He plays most of the maps. So it's like Swick and Arco on the Hard Rock and DTs, and like some of the Nomads. And then for the more gimmicky and hidden things, they're turning to Yenider and Water.
Yeah.
So yeah, able to field a pretty decent roster for most things. Having a bit of an issue with Nomad 3, but it might just be that map being a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Having those like double taps and weird patternings.
I really hope someone at least try to actually tap that instead of double tapping it.
That's quite risky when it's like a 300 BPM burst.
Oh, it's not that bad, realistically.
I mean, they weren't that long, but still.
Yeah. All right. I figured out how the list works. There's two alphabetical lists, and they split them between whether or not the first letter is capitalized or not capitalized.
Oh. So. We love Laser Client, man.
Yep. All right. Anyways, on the next team, Guru Mawataru. I'm guessing. Hopefully.
This is like, I feel like this is like this is not super relevant, but this is like a Chinese username tradition that they have like, they have the usernames that's just keyboard spam, and then they just end up being like the best players in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I have probably the most clouded name is Crystal. Um, he was like the carry of China OWC pretty recently.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
We could.
Honestly, a lot of these teams are just very. Oh, we love to see that a lot of teams are very well balanced, and they don't
Yeah.
have like very clear weaknesses. They just have like a map or two that they kind of drop some uncharacteristically low score, but it just happens. But in this case, it's their Nomad 2 and their DT2.
Yeah. All right. On to the
Yeah, everything else
next
looking pretty
team.
solid.
Yeah. Ruotsi. I'm hoping that's right.
I I don't know what that's supposed to be. But
I'm
yeah,
hoping
all
it's
these
Ruotsi.
players hailing from Finland,
Mm-hmm.
and first name I recognize is someone in like the 4-digit scene is Amacetic. That guy is very scary on the speed maps.
They got number
And yeah,
2
you see,
on DT2.
they have the prove it, and also the DT1, which
And yeah,
had a
and
lot
the
of speed involved.
Nomad 3 as well. They got number 3 on.
Yeah, well, some people would be categorizing that as a speed map. I
Yeah.
wouldn't personally,
Yeah,
but
they're definitely all rounded because they've got Nomad 3 as one of their tops. They got Hidden 2 as one of their tops, and then their DTs are just very scary.
yeah, if you have to outline like a specific trend for a weakness, it's probably like the aim maps,
Mm-hmm.
which I think tends to check out with 13. I don't think any of them are like huge aim players, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see how they try to cover with that as
Yeah.
the bracket progresses.
All right, we got starting. We're starting the top 10. Number 10 seeded team is the Avengers.
Yeah. So these names are like just some of the best players in
That's like
the
four digits.
yeah, best 4 digits from US. And
Mm.
actually there's some empirical data for that because there was actually a 1v1 for like 1K players in US, and this was basically the top
Top
Rhythm
4.
Game, Wispy, and Batball were literally the top three.
Yeah,
And
fun
I
fact.
don't know if that's how they I don't know if that's why or how they made the team, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean it goes to show their prowess. This is like one of the most, I guess,
Funnily enough,
under ranked teams. Like they
yeah,
did much better in qualifiers compared to their expectation for their rank.
yeah,
But yeah, they just have very solid scores on most things. Pretty well rounded because each player team tends to fill their niche.
yeah.
They have like a specific thing they play, like rhythm game,
It's hard
super
rock.
scary on hard rock. Um, Wispy and Batball a bit more similar, going in for like weirder or
Yeah.
more gimmicky maps, and then Miles there to fill for I believe aim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, when they were doing their qualifiers, they invited me to their call, so I got to listen to their stuff while they were doing their tournament or their qualifiers match.
yeah.
All right, on to the number 9 seeded team, or Rinbot.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of really good 4 digits, Les Perry is a name that you've probably heard recently. He got like a what was the one really insane score he got recently? He got like a Furioso Melody FC in match.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was a thing that was happening. I think that's enough to speak of how good he is.
and actually,
Um,
we found it. We found the team with the number 1 Nomad 4 or Nomad 4
yeah, I
score.
think this is the lowest seeded team that has a number one at all.
Yeah,
A certain team coming up has stolen quite a few of the number ones,
yeah.
but yeah, really solid.
All right, next
That's
team.
probably the number thing I know
All
Les
right.
Perry for is like the like nomad aim. Not to discount like the rest of the team as well. Like I also know Kadama is really good on any kind of hidden, just
Mm.
like especially hidden tech, which wasn't even in this pool. So
All
yeah,
right,
definitely watch out for them.
next team is gonna be Blue Pants.
Oh yeah,
Some pretty popular names down here, like Kama Decadent Fire Rage. Fire Rage I know is an OW or has been an OWC
yeah.
player.
You gotta know Fiery Rage because
One of the
he's
most
got to
I
be
feel like
like I
he's
think he's like one of the people who played like the most times on the U.S. OWC
yeah.
team.
I feel
So
like
yeah.
honestly he's probably one of the most popular names in the entire OC.
Yeah, very well known. But then you don't want to discount the rest of them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Jaden was like one of the OWC carries from last
Yeah.
year,
I didn't even
and then
mention
Kama
Krishnampa as
really
well.
solid on like speed and like weird, like raw speed finger control. He's very scary at. And then Crescento going to be going in for the raw aim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good scores all around here. We're going to be going on to the next team is Mari Sad. Italian team, apparently.
Yeah. So when I look at this, I first look at Kirochi, who I feel like they don't get mentioned enough, but they're really solid at anything except like Noma 2, DT2. But then for those maps, they have players that are more than willing to fill for those of Vivace and Invoker, kind of tapping legends. So yeah,
I think
having
the
a
next
bit of issues with the DT pool here, but honestly, I probably would chalk that up to the DT pool being formatted a little bit weirdly.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll have too much of issues with it
And-
going into the future. Also, Chihuahua is, better known as Arj or Oomphy McDonald. Those are just some names of all time, but he's also really solid on the hard rock aim in particular.
So I'm really hoping this next team is this question mark team. I'm hoping that's alright.
I think it is. It's like the question mark spam.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason it gets question mark team, it's because all of those characters are
Illegal
Relic.
characters.
So
This is
they're not
LOL
exactly
team.
prepared for that. I don't know what the team means. I just know it's not English. But yeah, they have Din, big speed player, and they have the whole Lala squad, which will be hard for me to commentate because no matter how hard I try, I don't remember which is which. I think one of them is Milk Tea, one of them is David. I wanted to say another one of them was Genshin Phobia, but I think that's the same player as David. Yeah, it's just a complete headache to keep track of.
Yeah.
But clearly, I mean, they are doing pretty decently on most of the mods, except having a bit of issue with the hidden. And I think that is something that will actually bear out in the bracket stage. So we'll probably be seeing them ban those going into the future, or whichever one of those they don't like. Yeah.
All right, and we go on to the number 5 seeded team, which is Halcyon. Pretty scary team here.
We have Rudge, Rhythmic RS, Ayugia, and Mustache.
Yeah, I believe.
And I did take a look at the MP on this lobby.
They didn't have Rhythmic for this.
They didn't have. Well, that really, because yeah, I think you're right. But
Yeah,
even though they
did
didn't
not
have
play the
Rhythmic, who
qualifiers.
would be their like DT player, they still did really well on the DTs. And I think that a lot of that is credited to Rudge, who just like a year ago you probably would know as like someone who gets DT aim scores in solo, but he's been playing really well in tournaments, and he I think FC'd both DTs and also Nomad 4. So yeah, really showing off his stuff in this qualifier lobby.
Yeah, as well as Yugia or Ayugia as well, also another DT player.
Yeah, so I guess that explains it because like they have their mechanics more than covered because Ayugia very solid on the DT as well, and then finally they have Mastaz who very strong on the hard rocks.
Yeah.
And also Nomad 2. I don't know this for a fact, but I kind of just assume he FC'd Nomad 2.
They have a lot of number 5 and number 3 scores on maps, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Alright, anyways, on to the next team. Team seated at the number 4 spot, Red Pixel.
Oh yeah. So we have Red. I was about to say we have Red Pixel. No, we don't.
No, Red Pixel.
We don't have the player here, but we have Welter, Scrowwell, Scylla, and Kamenshek. Scylla being really well known recently for being he's just like super consistent in tournaments. Plays basically every skill set except speed.
Yeah.
But then for those other skill sets, like we mentioned speed, I think Kamenshek will be doing very well in the DTs. Scrowwell maybe not being mentioned as much, but he, I believe, was the top performer on this team statistically for qualifiers.
Yeah.
Pretty well rounded, but I especially know him for being really good at like high AR ult. Pretty niche skill set that you don't see here, but just something. And then Walter as well, who has been farming really hard, getting some really good skill improvement with the DT aim and just aim in general.
Yeah, you just gotta watch out for their hidden and hard rock because you see those scores. Number 3 on both of the
Yeah,
hard rock.
number
or
1 on Hard
hiddens.
Rock, yeah.
All right.
Scary.
Anyways, on to the next team. Team seeded number 3 is Reginald. A couple of
Yep.
popular names here as well.
Yeah. So we kind of saw a lot of those OWC US names earlier, and this is kind of like the other half. We
Yeah.
have Wuxi, Rectagon, Bashiman, and Gamahus, formerly known as Intercambing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, kind of like the last team. I mean, their hard rocks also very solid. And you got to imagine that a lot of that is from Rectagon, who
hmm
honestly it might be just like the hard rock goat.
Yeah.
um,
Number 1 scorer on hard rock too here.
Yeah, and then you can't count out Bashiman as well.
Yeah, he's
Very
got
very
the.
solid on the precision and also
Mhm.
the gimmick. Yep.
All
And then you
right.
have Gamahus, who's just really well rounded, plays
Mhm.
most of everything, and then Wuchi to fill in the speed. So yeah, it looks like they have most of their bases covered. Just
Yeah.
struggling a little bit on
On the
the
no
Nomad pool, but
mods.
everything else just looking
Pretty good.
perfect. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Number 2 seeded team is going to be Miku Fan Club. And we see Gnaus here who
Yeah.
funny because you have
No, the other
Grimace
one,
on the other team.
the Polish
Yeah.
one, yeah. And they have Corey Maluko, Gamer. I'm not gonna say that number, and Arnold 24x24.
hmm
Yeah, believe Arnold FC'd the DT2. Honestly, well, FCs are not even that uncommon at this level of play, but I think Arnold, correct me if I'm wrong, was like literally number 1 on that DT2 before it got even pooled,
Yeah.
which is funny to think about.
hmm
Um, but yeah, between the mods, they did pretty solid on most everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to talk about the players a bit more. Nahu's really good on raw aim, and then Gamer has been like he's been pumping out scores on the flow aim streams recently.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Corey Maluka also pretty well rounded, kind of leaning towards hard rock DT. But yeah.
All right.
And now we have
The
the
number 1
most
seeded team.
unpredictable number 1 of all time.
No
You'll see
one-
the team, and you'll be absolutely shocked.
No one could have seen this coming.
Yeah.
Flopinski, number 1 seeded team. Some of
And
the
I just want to get through your head. This was not particularly close either, because
Yeah.
on number 2, the average scores of 2 through 5 were all in the ballpark of like 700 Ks, like for each score.
hmm
And then for these players, it was more around the ballpark of 850K.
Yeah.
That's quite a ways higher, I would say.
There are so many number 1s on the screen right now.
So yeah, I mean, elephant in the room is they have like, in terms of recent like shown proven tournament results, absolutely the number 1 tournament player of Malashevsky.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also they have Enri, who might surprise some people. Actually got a higher like average score in this. So
Yeah.
you have multiple players to instill the fear of God in you. And then of course you have Nideric to mostly be playing the DTs. I think he like almost FC. He almost SS like one of the DTs.
Yeah.
But then also not too bad on other things too, because actually in this qualifiers he had to fill for Hard Rocks because I think Karcher was facing some like lag drop or like motivation issues.
Okay.
So he just didn't play these qualifiers, and they still blew everyone out by that margin.
hmm
Very scary to think about.
Good luck to Bread Incarnate.
I guess it'll just remain to be seen if anyone can challenge them.
Yeah.
Certainly hope so for entertainment value, but at the moment it's not looking too good, I will say.
Yep. Just good luck to Bread Incarnate next week. It's gonna be a fun watch.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you can low SR them. I don't think you can, but just grasping at straws, right? But yeah, that's our qualifier showcase, and we'll be getting into that low SR pool that we've been talking about just about now.
Let's see if it actually decides to load here. Hopefully. I have to turn up my volume as well.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have too long of an intermission getting into this.
Yep, there we go. We are not gonna have the overlay because the overlay decided to be difficult with us.
Awesome. We'll just
But
read the map stats out for
yeah,
you.
we're gonna have to read the map stats out for you. But we're gonna go into our no mod 1 here. Our no mod 1.
Yeah, so this pool, we're starting a little bit low for open rank standards, but fear not, the pool difficulty scales pretty hard with each round. But right now we're going to be testing just low SR, consistency, and all-roundedness. So it's going to be a 6.6 star no mod 1 pool. There's definitely some maps in here that are a little bit harder than that. There are some that are a little easier than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as an early round pool, I think this is about as banger as you can get.
Yeah.
Also, it's showing. Okay, it showed results for a second, but I think we're good.
Yeah, it's gonna go back to before between results because actually I can just hide it.
Yeah, do that.
So whenever we're not doing anything, you're just gonna see a black screen. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, yeah. No, that's better than being
Going
reminded of who the first team
Yeah.
is every single map.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we go on to the no mod 1 here. I actually have
So
to.
yeah, we have a no mod 1, which you know, typically when you're commentating a no mod 1, the people don't have much to say. You're just saying, oh well, everyone knows what a no mod 1 is. It's,
Yeah.
you know, if you played a no mod 1 before, you've played this. But honestly, I don't think that's really the case with this one, because this no mod 1 feels much harder than a typical 6.6 star no mod 1 to me, because the BPM is only 184, and you know how it works with aim maps and BPM. The lower the BPM is, actually the harder it is, because if you want to achieve the same star rating, the spacing has to get really goofy. So yeah, I think you're going to be dealing with higher spacing than average on this, which in that way it's kind of similar to the qualifiers no mod 1.
Yeah.
Of course, this is not quite as unhinged because the pool starting's lower, but yeah, during the KIs, the spacing gets pretty high, I think.
Yeah, it seems there's like a lot of funky sliders here.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't feel like the most quality map to play, because these slider jumps are a little bit they feel a little bit weird.
Yeah, they seem like they feel
little bit of extra discomfort that might make, you know, like the non-aim specialists find some random breaks here and there. Yeah, the angles are they're like nominally like comfortable. Like they seem like they should be in these like acute angles, but then you play it and then it's just not. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have that very PI focused map though. I mean, in that way it's similar to the typical one, where you have the bigger spacing and the weird slider drops. In between though, you can gather up some free combo. Yeah, we're just about getting into...
Like, yeah.
Yep. Actually, yeah, my commentating might be a bit delayed because we don't have the Discord stream, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh wait, am I not streaming? I'm streaming Ocho on Discord, right?
No, you're not.
Okay, I gotta redo that then.
Yeah, this is a little bit of scuffness. Gotta just bear with us. I realize we didn't read the map stats, but here it's nothing extraordinary. It's just very typical no mod settings.
You gotta have the little stream in the no mod 1.
Yeah, I know the streams are easy in this. Actually, there's some, I don't know if they already got played, but there's this one like slightly space triples part. I think just about there.
Yeah, it just got played, so. Oh, some more funky sliders.
So I think Normally you have Nomad 1 to be like one of the free maps in a pool. Here, I don't really think that's true. If you're good at if your team's good at aim, I think you can about picking. Yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and stream Discord for this man.
All right.
And then we can go on to the Nomad 2.
Yeah.
She's gonna be Ewan Owen with her. I feel like this is a pretty popular Nomad 2 with at least Touhou related anything.
I feel okay. I feel like it would be popular, but I just haven't played it many times in a tournament.
I think I pulled this from.
Well, it feels like a Do you want to start the replay? I mean, like.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty typical fare for Nomad 2. Definitely leading more into the flow aim side of things, with the BPM being only 1. So most people will have very good stamina for this. It's just a matter of the flow.
Yeah, I think you got to say that BPM one more time. I think you cut out perfectly for the BPM.
Oh yeah, my mic is a little bit not the best. Yeah, so it's a 180 BPM. So you're absolutely getting more flow aim focus on this than tapping, which is kind of what we wanted for this pool.
I believe this is a little bit of a shorter.
Yeah, shorter for sure. It's only around 2 minutes. Also, the star rating's a bit higher than the Nomad one. It's 6.8 stars. Yeah. And that's just us accounting for that in the current meta, a little bit overweighted. So, I mean, it's not entirely unpredicted that if you want the pool difficulty to be uniform, that you have to pick a stream map that's a bit higher star rating.
Yeah. You gotta watch out for those 1/3s that were there as well.
Yeah. This map feels pretty high quality to me. Like, it plays a lot more interesting than typical Nomad, I'd say. Because you have a lot more spacing changes and like than typical.
This is Nomad 2, yes.
Yep. Yep, especially on those more space trees where it like starts with like a bit slower flowing on the triple. Those can be tricky. You really need to watch out for it. Yeah. Pretty consistent difficulty, but the spacing ramps up a little bit in the second half. I mean, that's a pretty common thing. Just how music is structured.
Yeah.
Yep. There we have it.
So
last time we had a lot of complaints about Nomad 3 being a speed map.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have that issue this time.
Our Nomad 3
to the
is
relief of many.
yeah, Red in Wonderland.
Yep.
I can already see it's a little bit of a slider map already.
Yeah. Actually, I think one of the things that distinguishes this from most Nomad 3s is that between the alt patterns, you actually have some decently high spacing in terms of just like the 1-2 rhythm jumps. Well, it's not really showing yet, but there's just these consecutive triples that kind of need to have your eyes on the whole screen to make sure you're like reading properly.
Ooh, how short is this map? It's also kind of short.
Not that short. Around 3 minutes, which is just about average. But yeah, if you're between the really need to make sure. Yeah, the snaps are pretty big, so just gotta be aware of that.
Hopefully, no one gets caught up on that little triple there as well.
Yeah, you're seeing you have some components of snap aim, but then also some flow aim with the linear flow. Also, it's a remix of the same song as the Nomad 2, I just realized.
Yeah.
It is a very, the UNON was her, the very well-known Touhou song, probably the most remixed one, I'd say. So it's not entirely surprising.
There's a 1/3 section here.
Yeah.
A little bit of an aim.
People gonna call this an aim map instead
Yeah.
now, instead of a speed map. I mean, alt is also aim, just different style of aim.
I mean, technically you can call it alt, just really spaced alt.
Well, yeah, you know, some people would call alt just like really spaced dreams, but I don't think you really have that here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Map just kind of has some very chill vibes.
Yeah.
Probably that's just an effect of the song being not exactly the most intense, but
Up pretty well, I feel.
yeah. I mean, yeah, map by Setia, and I mean, I guess Setia is probably more known for his like big aim maps, but also pretty competent at mapping the alt. Plays pretty well, I feel. Except that triple part. So, yeah, a lot more consistent as well than the qualifiers Nomad 3.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Alright.
we're trying to fix the issues that people present to us in Mappool feedback. That was not a good segue to the next map.
Yeah, our next map is going to be.
Because yeah, people.
I think.
Sorry, we'll have another 5-minute Nomad 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, we promise not in the next rounds. But here it would just worked pretty well for the star rating we were considering.
Mm-hmm. Seems to have also a custom storyboard.
Oh. I think most people will not be affected by that. I don't think. Most people won't be playing with a storyboard in match, for sure.
You never know. There are some tournament players that I know play with backgrounds on.
And I just realized, actually, Coda, or formerly known as Liability, actually got a better replay for this, but it wasn't on the sheet apparently, so just gonna give him credit real quick, but yeah. Yeah, so we're dealing with definitely kind of similar angle as to last week's, that this is less like a pure tech map, like a typical Nomad 4 you'd find in a pool nowadays.
I think this is the one.
It's more consistency tech.
Yeah,
right?
I think this is also the one that I said that had a lot of finger control on it.
Yeah, this definitely has some finger control because you have some, you know, I think you've been seeing some like normal stream, cut stream things, but you also have the 1/3 just like that. Something you really need to watch out for, and you can recognize when they spam the new combos.
I hope the sound is good for the stream, so.
Hopefully. I mean, I guess we haven't really had the time to try to refine everything and make sure everything's in perfect working order.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it so that they can hear you and
Oh, you're trying, okay, like balancing it.
Yeah. I kind of forgot to actually start the recording.
Oh.
Hopefully none of these maps so far are copyright.
Yeah. I mean, the tech element in this is like not extremely heavy. Because, I mean, of course you have the typical cut streams and all, and some rhythm changes, but a lot of it's just consistency based. So, do keep that in mind when you're strategizing which picks might be best for your team.
I'm gonna actually.
Oh, what?
Never mind, it's not assigned to it.
We're back, I think.
Or Scuff, sorry.
And as far as I remember, the first half is a lot more tech oriented, and then this next part is a lot more just aim, I suppose. Yep. Especially when you have long maps in early rounds, it will probably a lot come down to a test of nerves. Guys. You're kind of expected to hold some really good combos on this, so just need to make sure that you're not blinking for the whole 5-minute duration.
A little bit of burst here.
There. Map does feel quite nice for me to play, personally speaking. Kind of, map harkens back to like era before custom tech mapping.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it looked a little old, looked a little dated. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah. This is one of the older maps. I think it was actually used for some of the previous Touhou tourneys, which those were many years ago now.
Like 2020 and 2018.
Tell you something. Yeah. And then it does get back into this slightly more technical feel at the very end with this part of the song repeating. Yep, and that will be it. As a contrast to that, very long map. We have our Nobod 5, which will be on the opposite end of the spectrum. Quite short map, 1 minute 40 seconds.
Oh yeah. What BPM is this?
It's a 240 BPM map, so we are pulling Nomad 5 at speed in this tournament. Not gonna do any weird shenanigans with gimmick. And so yeah, this brings the very standard Nomad 5 favor to the table. Hasn't been pulled that much, probably just because it's a recently ranked map. It hasn't been around for that long.
Yeah, compared to the other old one, I feel like that's more aim now, personally.
So, yeah, very standard stuff with this. It's just some triples, some bursts. Probably will be one of the higher scoring maps, because it is a skill set that a lot of people are good at nowadays. The map is not particularly difficult. So, I honestly would not be surprised to see some act battles on this, so gotta make sure you're maintaining that, paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, the aim is not a difficult part here, I don't think.
Yeah, the aim is really
definitely
easy.
way more than just attacking. Oh yeah, exactly.
Slide air drops. SMH.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is, yeah, like I mentioned, a new set of this. There is another set that's much older, that's pretty well known.
I think it is
this
also
one's
like
being,
7
of
stars
course,
on
much less used, so we decided to bring it into what?
the funny sliders.
Yep.
Anyways, I think this is Hidden 1 next, right?
Yep, hidden one.
This.
On the topic of Lucient map sets, this is another one, but it's also a guess difficulty. And this is going to be our density check, because it's a mostly aim map, few bursts, at 220 BPM, and AR 9. So the density is really the defining feature. You have a lot of nodes on the screen at the same time, and it's just testing how well you can handle that.
A little bit of reading there too.
Yeah, it has a few stacks, but that's definitely not the focus. It's just something you practice and then you know.
Yeah, you get used to it. I will personally say I do personally like high BPM hidden ones over almost everything else.
Because yeah, of course the goal of a whole tournament map pool is that you want to test a lot of different skill sets, and you want to slip some, you know, moderate BPM aim in there.
Yeah.
Not quite like GT BPM, but also about 200. And so that's what this map accomplishes.
Over the squares.
And of course, to accompany that, you get some slightly lower spacing, but then once you get some patterning that's not exactly the most comfortable in terms of angles. Like you can see some obtuse ones thrown here and there. Nothing super exotic, but it is a little bit unnatural.
I will say this skin, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to be hidden with.
Well, of course it doesn't matter for the spectators.
Yeah, I know. But personally, me trying to read this is like almost impossible.
Yep. And then you have a few bursts here and there, but I think basically everyone will be able to tap the map.
I know a lot of people that can't tap like 170. It's kind of so funny.
Well, at that point, I think you have some problems to fix before you want to play tourneys.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you know? I mean, it's kind of more understandable if it's like long streams, but here it's just burst. Yeah. Also a bit of a shorter pick. Just clocking in a bit of over 2 minutes.
Almost on the end.
So we have a mostly aim-focused hidden 1, and then to contrast, we're going to have a hidden 2 that is a lot more janky.
Yep.
Yep.
I think this one's also a little bit shorter too, right?
Yeah. This is going to be testing the kind of alt flow aim, as well as, you know, of course, the Loyar as is typical. Has some parts that are pretty challenging to read as well, because yeah, has some stacks in some very not super intuitive ways.
There's a lot of triples, but the first two are just like right over each other, and then the last note is just like across the entire screen.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say across the entire screen, but yeah, I get your point. It like cuts to the next note.
Yeah, some funny reading there.
Yeah. So I think this will probably be one of the picks that the Hidden 2 specialists will probably be a bit happier with, because a lot of Loyar players don't like when it's just a pure awkward aim map. So here we have the awkward aim more represented in the other hidden, and then this is more of the other angle to it. Whoa. Yeah, this probably will be one of the trickier maps, I'd say.
Yeah.
Seems like the kind of thing that people would not get as good scores on. Because basically it's just a really niche skill set. Because a lot more people can play the generic, you know, just jump map in Hidden 2 than this sort of thing.
Yeah. A little funny slider near the end.
Yeah, this being mapped by Consumer of Bean, but if you didn't know that, it looks a lot like a half slash map, which does make sense because this is a half slash map set. Just with the way that the doubles are stacked in a little bit of a unconventional fashion.
Yeah.
Definitely one you're gonna want to practice like at least once.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're gonna be moving on to Hard Rock 1. And this is a bit of a spicier one from a pooling perspective.
Also
from a difficulty perspective, I think it's one of the harder maps. It's definitely, I think it's the highest star rating in the pool, I want to say.
Seems to be a little long as well.
Yeah. So, the intent of this map is that we are going for something that, of course, has like some aim requirement, but also pretty stream space as well. Yeah, and I mean, of course, like, it is the flow aim really because the BPM not all that high, 184, not too challenging to tap for most people, but the flow aim does get rather spaced at some points.
Yeah. They're just really a flow aim and aim challenge still, which is what Hard Rock is supposed to be.
I would say primarily so, but you also have some non-trivial Hard Rock aim that if you were like a No Mod 2 specialist, for example, you might not be all that comfortable with just because of the Hard Rock being added to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this clocking in at a bit above average star rating for this pool of 6.8, roughly. But once again, it's the thing about the stream maps being overweighted. So.
Yeah, No Mod 2 was also 6.8, right?
Yeah. It is somewhat similar, but this has a lot higher jump aim requirement.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is actually I thought this was kind of crazy. This is 600 for Hidden Hard Rock SS, which is kind of crazy for me to think about. That's a little bit overweighted.
8.6 star too.
Yeah.
Or 6.8 star.
This is the consistency farmer meta, you know? Yeah, definitely a little bit more of a niche skill set, because not every full aim player is gonna like their hard rock, and not every hard rock player is gonna like doing full aim. So need someone who really fits that overlap well. Yeah, it's just a little bit unpredictable because, of course, with the tournament meta nowadays, the hard rock ones usually pool to be mostly just aim.
Yeah.
So we're switching things up a little bit, trying to keep things fresh. Some big aim right here. Yep, and so this should be just about wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Having a little bit more burst strain right here. Yep.
Alright.
Right, and so to kind of balance out pooling, of course you want to have like contrasting skill sets, and that's what this Hard Rock 2 is going to accomplish, because it's a mostly jump-based map. You could just call it like a normal Hard Rock 1, CS 6.5.
Is it CS Year 6 still, or is it lower?
CS 6.5, yes. That in addition to the BPM, which is just shy of 170 even, and you know you're going to have quite the aim challenge. Because not only do you have the 6.5, but you have some decent spacing on top of that at some parts. Yeah, not exactly the most unpredictable pick. This is a pretty well-known tourney, like Hard Rock 2 sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it filled like the it filled its role in this pool pretty well, I feel.
Bunch of bursts so far. With a little bit of aim as well.
Yeah, it has some burst element to it, but they're not all bat space, so yeah, the map really gets into it in earnest, and starting in this like PI part.
Yeah.
There's some stacks and overlaps. I mean, it's just typical aim map fare, but just gotta make sure you don't get caught off guard misreading it. Very chill song as well. There's a general trend that I think high CS mapping definitely works better with more chill songs.
Well, because they have to be like a little bit lower.
Thinking of stuff like Ice Angel and the like.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the DT pool. We have our DT1, which kind of like qualifiers, it's going to be a hybrid between aim and some light speed.
Yeah, I remember this map.
Yeah, it's a pretty, well, I didn't know this map before. I don't know if it's well known, but rather older map style.
Yeah.
So.
There's a couple of like, what BPM is this again?
It's like 230, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, a couple of bursts in here that you have to watch out for.
A couple of bursts, and the aim, which is a little bit awkward at some points, just by the fact that it's an old map. They didn't really optimize like jumps for being super comfortable acute angles all the time. So then you have a few obtuse ones thrown in here and there. It's something that you need to contend with.
I honestly feel like this is more likely to be an act battle than anything else here.
I kind of don't feel like that. I mean, each individual part of the map is not that hard, but just by the fact that it's so long, it's like 4 minutes post DT. So I feel like there's plenty of time for someone to find just a random some of the patterns that are a little more shit missable.
Yeah. For some other players, it's going to be act battle.
Yeah, for some of the more competitive matches, very possible. Yeah, consistency is absolutely the name of the game with a map this long.
Yeah.
Also, much to the dismay of DT mains, this will be AR8 DT. Don't worry, there is a few higher ARs than the other ones.
Yeah.
I mean, no 10.3, but it is a 6.6 star pool, only so much we can do. Wait, this is actually the third UNO and as her remix in this pool.
Oh yeah.
We didn't think of the song about, I guess.
It's a good song to remix, man.
Yeah.
A little 1/3 part before the next Ki.
Yeah, but anyway, it gets into like the same patterning as before.
Yeah.
It is a very consistent map. Just about holding your nerve, basically.
Exactly. Don't have that scoreboard on them. Full bursty section here at the end. Hopefully no one finds breaks on those. Or is it a DT3 already, or is it free mod?
DT2, DT2.
Oh, DT2. Oh yeah, because it just feels a little bit like a DT the last map, just with the bursts.
Yeah. So this is our speed map. The highest AR in the DT pool, just AR 10, but promise things will get more spicy later. So yeah, at BPM of 250, not going to be able to have too much stamina in this one, so it will be mostly burst focused.
Are speed players rejoicing at the fact that this is probably going to be more actual speed than finger control? Well, actually, I see a little bit of finger control.
It has a little bit of doubles, but yeah. This is another one that's very possible to go to an act battle because the map is just not that long. After DC, it's like a minute 20 seconds, so yeah, any break on this is kind of disastrous, honestly. Even act drops. Yep, you just have that short map volatility. I mean, it's very simple. It does what it needs to do. Just check it. Can you burst 250? If you can, you'll probably be fine. Yeah, another bit of an older map in here.
Yeah, it does seem
modern. We don't have too many modern maps on a DT pool.
Because I think also most Touhou maps are kind of old, realistically.
I wouldn't say in general, but there are a lot of old maps, as well as new ones. I mean, there's just a lot of Touhou maps in general, which is a great thing, of course.
And so now is it DT3 or a free model one?
Yeah, DT3.
DT3. I don't have it.
So I think this DT3 is, in my opinion, it's one of the most interesting and also hardest maps in this pool.
Another long.
Because with DC1 kind of having that speed element to it, we didn't want to go in with like a third speed map or semi-speed map. So instead, this is going to be a bit more of like micro movement, sort of almost. I don't really want to call it tech, but like sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing is pretty conspicuously missing from the like dedicated tech map. So bringing in this sort of skill set, that's pretty rare to find.
Are these
very reminiscent of like Heart of Night, which very well known party map, but then this one not so well known, but it was kind of the same thing. Yeah, also another longer one, but song's really chill, or really cool, as well as the map, so I don't know, about 4 minutes passes a lot faster when I play this map. Yeah, I see this being picked or banned a lot, as is typical with the harder maps.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weirder skill set. And also it being long can add to the difficulty of getting a high numerical score. Yeah, a lot of cut stream action, a lot of not really space doubles, but just space enough where you need to like snap it.
Yeah. This map actually seems really cool.
Yeah. I was super happy with this pick. Hopefully players will find it fun as well.
Yeah. I can't tell if those are like hit sounds or that's the actual song.
that part right before the break, one of the more intense sections. There's a little bit of free combo right after, so hitting that part will be really.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit weird to read in spots, but with the AR being like basically 9.9, it'll be a pretty comfortable AR for like a Nomad and a DT player I like to read.
Yeah. So funky double cut stream.
Yeah, that double cut stream is a little bit nasty. Yeah, despite the comfort in being able to read the AR for most people, the rhythms are interpreted a little bit,
Yeah,
I don't know, this is just a common DT alt thing. The rhythms are kind of hard to get a grip on.
Yeah, those notes after the streams seem very difficult. Like, it's like a 4-note burst, but there's a slider in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely we're catering to a different audience with this. Very different kind of player who will want to go in for this.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so now is it free mod 1? It should be, right?
Free mod 1 is a little bit funny.
Little
it is
funny.
kind of a no tournament map.
Yeah.
But the reason it's funny is that, please keep in mind this replay you're watching is with Hard Rock, because it's base CS2. That's the gimmick. Yeah, alt map has a little bit of low aim streams, but those are not very hard in comparison to the snaps.
I mean, I think I played a pool where one of the free mods was actually CS0. I played it with him, Hard Rock.
That's wild.
Yeah,
but yeah, so with the CS2, the Hard Rock is going to be honestly probably more comfortable because it's bringing it closer to like a normal CS that most people would be playing.
Mm-hmm.
As well as bringing down the density because at base AR9, if you play it hidden, there's just so much shit on your screen pretty much. So honestly, it's probably a Hard Rock favorite map.
Looks pretty fun actually.
Yeah. Though I will say the low CS AR10 is a little screwy. Not something I was too accustomed to playing.
I think we might honestly see a lot of double modding here.
As in like hidden Hard Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, for those not familiar, the free mod rules in this tournament, you need one Hard Rock or hidden Hard Rock, and one hidden or like, or I guess you could go hidden easy, you can also go flashlight, but whatever, the one person with the more gimmicky mods and one person with Hard Rock.
Yeah.
So because you don't get a 2x score multiplier for easy, it's only 1.75. So for the earlier rounds, I don't expect any of the maps to be hard enough where anyone would be incentivized to go easy.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't do it here because I would not want CS1.
CS1 Air, what, like 7? Or 8?
It's like 5 or something. I'm not an easy player, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Bit of a funny miss. But yeah. As the pool progresses, there's some maps I have in mind that I think we'll definitely be seeing a lot of easy on. from the competent speed players.
One more note here at the end. Ah.
3.
Yeah, just don't put your. It's not over yet. Don't take your hand off of your pen or mouse.
And then finally, we're gonna have Fremont 2. We just had this whole crisis. Had this whole pooling identity crisis.
Yeah.
Trying to pool this slot because Fremont 2 is low-key like a slot invented exclusively for tourneys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the options are quite limited. So we just went back to a bit of a classic. Unfortunately, this does come at the expense of difficulty balance, because this map will be very easy to FC. A lot of people. So who knows, man? Maybe it's time to bring out the flashlight. You never know. More likely, we're just gonna see a bunch of act battles on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, a really standard Fremont 2. Not much to write home about. It's just some aim, a few bursts. Yeah, just typical Fremont 2 fare. Does provide a bit of contrast to like the Hidden 2, because here we're getting a bit more of a standard map as opposed to screwy like reading. This doesn't have too much in the way of reading besides just being AR8. Mostly just aim. And of course, you have that old map flavor back when mappers actually did CS5 AR8 regularly, so that's where we get the maps.
Funky little loop-de-loop stream.
Yeah. Some of probably the streams, if there's going to be a breakpoint anywhere, it would probably be on the streams of anything.
Yeah.
Because with hidden streams with any amount of spacing with OAR, it can be nasty.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Okay, finally, for the grand reveal, you have the tiebreaker. Not really a grand reveal because this is a pretty well-known tiebreaker. Not exactly the most unexpected of picks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just with how the map pool is laid out, there's kind of a bit of a shortage in the normal map pool of just conventional aim. So yeah, this is basically what this map provides. You have mostly a nomad aim check, along with a few streams that require a little bit of flowing.
Yeah. How long is this?
It's a pretty long map. It's 6.5 minutes, I would like to say.
Oh yeah.
It's originally being pooled for custom map for one of the OWCs. I want to say like 2019, 2020, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Probably maybe 2018. Well, it depends on what round it was.
Yeah, so what you get from this map is, pretty good for tourney, relatively consistent difficulty, although, of course for music representation, mostly on the TI times.
Yeah. Seems like we might have one coming up here soon. Nah.
Yep. Well,
Or
soon-ish.
soon-ish,
There's some somewhat lengthy build-up sections, but yeah, mostly aim most of the way through. Not particularly high BPM aim either. 190, so you have some spacing that's pretty decent. So I don't really want to just call it an aim check. I mean, it is, but honestly, it's more just raw consistency.
Yeah.
It's probably a better way to put it.
A couple points where you could just get a random shit miss, I feel.
Yeah.
Careful of those slider jumps as well.
Yeah, I think most people, it's not a particularly niche skill set. There's going to be a lot of people capable of a good score on this, like in solo, for example. But it's just whoever can muster up good consistency and nerve control when it really counts.
Yeah.
In a tiebreaker situation. Yep, getting into a bit of another build-up section. So hitting the first ki is honestly pretty critical. You kind of need to combo up to at least like the last quarter. Or maybe you don't need to, but that's kind of the expectation, because it's pretty consistent until the last quarter, and then the jumps get wacky, a little bit spacer. Spacer, more space.
Whole stream section, yeah. Burst more, man.
Yeah, there's no long streams though. It's mostly bursts, so then it won't come down to tapping at all. It's just the
aim requirement.
Keeping your flow aim in check. Some of those streams do accelerate a little bit, so you need to be wary of it. Because any mistake on this map could mean like at the end of your winner's bracket run.
Well, I mean, if it's winner's bracket run, this is the first round.
Yeah, well, I guess every team's doing winners right now, right? So.
Yeah. I guess it is technically a winner's bracket run with one. Actually.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, I mean, just considering the strength of the teams, like, you don't want to sleep on the, I guess, lower half of the qualified teams, because I think all of them are pretty capable of putting up good scores on this pool and probably the next pool as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you don't have to go to losers bracket, you really don't want to. There's gonna be some killers.
Does it build up into a PI here, I think?
And the ending, definitely the most intense part. Spacing gets quite noticeably higher.
Yeah. Little velocity stream.
Angle's not always the most comfortable, so not really a Nomad 1 in that sense. Has a few obtuse angles thrown out here and there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it plays mostly how you intuitively expect. Yeah. Do really appreciate this song, so hoping we'll see at least one tiebreaker. I mean, early rounds, a lot of the times you have a lot of blowouts, but there's some matchups that can be close, and we'll hope to see it. Hopefully we can stream those. And yeah, good luck in your matches.
Yeah.
And have fun practicing the pool.
I guess, yeah. We'll see you guys next week for next pool showcase.
Hopefully it streams a little less scuffed this time.
Yeah.
And not delayed by half an hour.
Yeah.
It happens.
Stuff happens. Yep. Alright.